There have been drones made in China that are capable of targeted assassination upon facial recognition without manual control. Originally developed to kill the insane overpopulation of carnivorous possums. I know, in New Zealand. But you know why not make it for people too? Scary world, man. A quiet epidemic. Lyme disease is the fastest growing vector-borne illness in the U.S. It is an infectious disease caused by the bacteria Borrelia burgdorferi, transmitted to humans by the bite of an infected black-legged tick. It is 6 times more common than HIV/AIDS and twice as common as breast cancer. The CDC estimates 300,000–1 million people will be infected this year. I urge anyone reading this to educate themselves so that they can protect themselves and their loved ones. Education and awareness saves lives. There is straight-up, actual human slavery that is going on in parts of the world. We've just kind of been collectively uninformed, ignoring it, and it's really fluffed. We no longer have any form of privacy or anonymity, no matter how hard we try to keep it. Kessler syndrome, the sky above us, space, is getting flooded with orbital debris. Some of the pieces aren't even detectable. So those pieces hit satellites, which turns into more debris, which hits more satellites. It could just end with no more GPS signal, research, and more. Planes would also be disrupted along with boats due to their communication system, as it would take years to recover from this. Prion diseases like chronic wasting syndrome, sex and labor trafficking is oh so real and terrifying. It shows a ruthlessness in humankind. I've definitely noticed a decline in the number of bees and monarch butterflies over the years. I used to see hundreds of both every spring. This year I haven't seen a monarch and honeybees as less than 20. It's crazy to see such drastic changes in less than a decade. Not the scariest, but a lot of the people who helped clean up the BP oil spill from Horizon are suffering long-term medical issues. Their case has been essentially swept under the rug. Edit. Spelling. The sterilization crisis in the medical device industry and how it impacts our access to safe medical products. And on top of that, how major companies have been off-gassing toxic ethylene oxide gas that has been causing cancer in people who live next to factories for years, and no one gave a garbage. When Texas flooded during Hurricane Harvey, there were 13 Superfund sites that got hit. A Superfund site is an area where there are hazardous substances or pollutants on a huge scale. A bunch of chemicals got swept away into those flood waters, and no one will know the effect for years. Edit. First, gold and silver, thanks kind strangers. Superbug STDs and other superbug infections. And incurable gonorrhea is now a thing. Thanks for all the anxiety, everyone. I'm glad I came here. I was in danger of having a good day. Plastic. It's everywhere. In our waste. In our food. In our bodies. In our drinking water. Obviously we know it's in the sea. Sure. Grocery stores are slowly rolling out not using plastic bags, which is awesome. But it's scary how it's taken over everything in our lives. Even in money. We can't stop using it, yet it's building up waste everywhere. And it's causing issues in our bodies with all the microbits we have consumed. The amount of microplastics, medicine, and unkillable pathogens in wastewater treatment. Due to the relatively low medicine concentrations, bacteria and viruses are building up resilience against the common antibacteria and antiviral medicine, which will eventually form a superpathogen that requires a totally new production method. Microplastics are very destructive to aquatic life and will do a lot of damage to the marine life. Water in general will be the new oil due to climate change. So that won't be fun either. Edit 1. Changed a spelling mistake. Edit 2. I am not an expert by any means, but I am a student in this field, and I probably made some mistakes in my formulation and in some facts. Some experts have commented below, so to read those comments for a better, more accurate explanation. The Insect Apocalypse. https www.nytimes.com/2018/11/27/magazine/insect-apocalypse.html https www.nytimes.com/2018/11/27/magazine/insect-apocalypse.html. Everybody thinks climate change is scary, but our entire ecosystem may collapse. That PR, advertising and marketing have infected our minds so much virtually all of people's lives are now about perception manipulation, changing the way you think about things and how other people think about things, presenting yourself and your life correctly, saying the right words, parroting the right ideas. We are so self-obsessed we think our perception is reality. We are forgetting that what we think and say is nowhere near as important as what we do. Erosion of personal privacy. The insects are dying. Antibiotic resistance and the overprescribing of Thiamycin. I don't think this gets talked about nearly enough, and it's already a problem. I remember reading an article recently that said in the future antibiotic-resistant bacteria-related deaths will surpass cancer deaths. The collapse of the insect population. In the frozen ice of Antarctica there are really old bacteria, older than humans. If the ice melts, then those bacteria would release, and since nobody is resistant against Thiamycin, who knows what's gonna happen? Last night I watched the documentary Dark Money on Amazon Prime. It focuses on Montana as a microcosm of how corporate interests are attempting to wind back the clock to the days when a company could control government. Basically, they look back at that company town mentality of 100 years ago in the model where wealthy business owners could buy an entire legislature and say, "That's awesome. Let's do that." Checks and balances, oversight, journalism, some form of structure that would stave off corrupt practices. They're working towards a paradigm where none of that is active, and democracy is as dead as last year's flowers, right here in the land of the free. I'm not sure if it's the scariest for the short term, but the death of reality. By that I mean how almost every person giving us information, news, blogs, etc., is fabricating or obscuring the truth for better profits. They understand anger keeps people interested in coming back, and go to disturbing lengths to push for those narratives, trying to follow a news story most of the time is jumping from hyperlink to hyperlink between different news sites with no originating source to be found. I've seen a TED Talk where the speaker openly mocked any sort of critical discourse of his topic that went unnoticed or uncaring. I thought Vice was pretty good, but they also started being openly biased and made me question their authenticity. Unbiased journalism is dying, as far as I can see, and it's rarely discussed. The abnormal decline in insect populations around the world. If the insects die out, our crops won't grow. The entire food chain will collapse when the insects keep declining in biomass, and so will civilization. B. Argus is https en.wikipedia.org/wiki/argus-is. Real-time surveillance system can fly for months at a time and has a camera array that can track every moving object, even a few inches small, in a 36 square mile radius. It streams 6,000 terabytes of footage a day, and all of it is processed real-time for asset and target location on the ground. They're used domestically and internationally. If you live in DC, Maryland, or Northern VA, chances are there's at least one tracking you right now and recording all your movements into a threat assessment database. Here's a video documentary. https u2.be/13barkmu8 of it flying over Maryland and some of the tech behind it. Pesticides wiping out our ecosystem. Without bees we are doomed. MDR bacteria thanks due to our excessive use of antibiotics. Plastics poisoning our oceans and killing wildlife. Global military exposure is growing. exponentially with that the rise of new super weapons. Thought the SS-18 Satan was scary? Well, now we have much more powerful WMDs and many more issues on the horizon. A great time to be alive and ignore the garbage out of it until it's too late, and then we'll cry collectively, why did it come this far? Basically, we're doing a pretty darn good job of creating a toxic cocktail which could wipe out everything unless we take drastic urgent measures. It's not too late just yet, but there must be a major shift in the coming decade to avoid demise. Active, offending, unprosecuted pedophiles actively creating, sharing and exchanging child porn on the dark web. Over 70,000 active users. That's at least 70,000 people around the world, and that's just one site on the dark web. Edit number 1. Here is the documentary I watched by a YouTuber called Ron Swanson called Hope Dies Here. https youtube.be/gggzbgmjczw. It's not every one cup of tea, but it highlights some key issues and certain sites on the dark web, along with other stuff like how to report sites and things like that. Edit number 2. I'm glad that so many people got involved in the discussion and are actively talking about these issues. Edit number 3. These are the sites where you can report child abuse online using their submission forms and get advice about accidentally exposing yourself to the illegal content. IWF Internet Watch Foundation. https://report.iwf.org.uk/n. Anonymous. Exposing Exploration. https www.exposingexploitation.com/reporting. Stop child abuse. Do you recognize any of the items in these pictures? Safe to view. https www.europol.europa.eu/stop-child-abuse. Thank you for all the upvotes and debates. It's a shame my first blow-up comment is about pedos though. I think the scariest thing is that everyone is talking about things that should terrify us, but we're all too apathetic to care. Between 1 and 2 million people are in concentration camps in China right now because of their origin in religion. In developed countries we waste 1/3 of all food. https://www.nrdc.org/sites/default/files/wasted-food-up.pdf. https://www.nrdc.org/sites/default/files/wasted-food-up.pdf. 40% in America according to this 2012 study. China's social credit score system, the North Korea government, and dying bees.